Hello, everyone. I believe I'm live here, but I'm not sure if I can be seen on YouTube yet. Maybe you can let me know. On YouTube yet? Maybe you can let me know. On YouTube yet? Okay, so I was checking and all right. Someone special's here. Someone very special is here. So we have a few people and we have, I'm really, we have hot stuff. 420 Audits Ireland, the man who brought us, what's his name? To somebody from Ireland, Scientology. I'm echoing, so I'm not sure. Am I improved now with the voice? And here I am. So we have a lot of people here, and we have some of my Chicago crew people here too. So let me know if I'm still echoing or if everything's good. Okay, very good. Yeah, I was just trying to do my phone at the same time. So today, let me tell you my idea for this presentation. So I'm in Chicago. I'm in a small YouTube community, and we are people who are interested in or protesting the cult of Scientology. And they have opened a large center here in Chicago. And average people have decided that they are ready to protest because of the cruel abuses against children, the abuse of religious visas to hijack people and then shift them around from place to place, and the cruel treatment of elders, etc. Many of you know this. So today, I made a presentation about logical fallacies and social media. And that is because within our community, since we're protesters, and probably on social media at large in many different interests, niches, and communities, there tends to come a point where everyone starts infighting and going at each other. And sometimes it's because they feel principled. Sometimes it's because they're silly trolls. And sometimes it's for the algorithm and the content. So we can start with the presentation. And I am so excited to see a lot of people here. Let's start with the presentation, and then I'm really hoping people want to comment and discuss it as we go along. Otherwise, I'll fill the time. All right, so I began my presentation with an introduction. This quote is sometimes attributed to Thomas Jefferson, but it's not a sure thing. So let's begin. I'm putting up a disclaimer today so we can be free to talk about whatever we want. Fair use, disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. So I hope today we get a good education on how to rate and judge all the content that we view, regardless of what we're interested in or make, and then how we can decide what we're going to take away and what we don't want to use. So a bunch of people here. I see Mona Fat Grammy, who's going to be interviewed a little bit later on. Adam, I just want to say, Adam, stop. And, Scooter Mom, many of my dear friends that I know and trust. All right. here you go. Whatever we're going to do here. So, straw man, as you know, is a very popular and I think trendy logical fallacy right now, because as I just scroll or see a lot of content, everyone's saying, oh, straw man, you're a straw man. So I think that must be very trendy. We're going to save the queen or king of all logical fallacies that we see in my particular community, the Scientology protest community, and we'll hopefully save that for last, and that's going to be ad hominem, because we love to duke. Hi, I'm not going to stop to say hello to every individual just so I don't interrupt the flow of what we're doing, but kiss, kiss, love, love. Okay, I'm going to presume everyone can see this. I'm going to have to make it bigger if I'm going to read it. There we go. So, what is a logical fallacy? And when we communicate every day, and when we communicate online, and when we make content, how do we know our reasoning is sound? So a logical fallacy is an error in your reasoning. You think you're right on it, but your reasoning is off. And that's going to totally undermine your argument, at least for those who are looking at it with reason rather than that emotional, immediate response. So there are formal fallacies, informal fallacies. We're going to keep it kind of light, kind of general, but we're going to try and learn something. So the formal fallacies attack the actual form or structure of the argument. And informal fallacies are showing up that there's an error somewhere in the content. So when you're using or communicating with logical fallacies, you're going to wind up with a conclusion that's not really reasonably logical. And one of the most common logical fallacies is just making hasty generalizations. Okay. I do see more people coming in, and hello, everybody's special. We'll go to the next slide and get into it. I have a little bit of humor for you, so it wouldn't be styleaudit without it. I've been taking a break. I need to catch up on everybody else's content and watch it and comment, because a very special, wonderful person from out of town came in, and I've been spending some time with that person, and it's just been really nice. So if you will take a minute now to make sure you have hit the like button, and if you'd like, maybe subscribe, and we'll see your comments. Here we go. Logic and rhetoric determines how we communicate, and that's exactly what we do on social media. Now, in social media, we're dealing with a lot of levels at one time. We're looking at channels we want to watch. We're looking at creators we sync up with and we like, or for whatever reason we like. We're dealing with the live chats, which you're all participating in now. And chats can stay online, or chats can start making a bunch of comments that contain logical fallacies, or chats can talk amongst each other as everybody is saying hello to everybody. There's also such a thing as trolls, and these are undue influences that enter chats or make comments for their own nefarious purposes. And we're going to see one logical fallacy that causes distraction, and that is a big favorite with trolls. Then we have mods. I don't need them. I'm kind of a small new channel, but who knows? Maybe you'll all make me famous and I'll need dozens of mods. And they are able to watch chats while the content creators on the street or speaking, and they can maybe eliminate a comment or block some comments or people or that type of thing if they see really inappropriate things going on, and that's up to the creator how they want to run their videos and their chats. Okay, then we have algorithms, and the more sensational your content or comments are, the more you get boosted in the algorithm. So that is encouraging everybody to be outlandish and be spicy and use a lot of generalizations and fallacies, because you know what? People fall for it all the time. We all fall for it. We fall for it in politics. We fall for it in advertising. And we fall for it on social media. So let's take a look at things and see, especially if we've seen them in content or we would recognize them. There you go, baby. We be in Chicago. My hottie boyfriend from Ireland, he has a drone. I just want to say that, 420 Audits Ireland. Okay, let's talk about triangles. So Scientology has a triangle, and that's specific to our community where most of us are here now. And this is a nice picture of the Scientology building in Chicago that was opened almost coming up to 1 year ago. It's in a very popular district of the South Loop or downtown area of Chicago, a neighborhood called Printers Row, a historic neighborhood. And so this is a high rent building here they have. And they are right next door to a college dorm, as most of us know. And they constantly send their staff members out to street recruit. They're street recruiting all the time. So that's where you're going to see us. Now, Scientology will invite people because they say, oh, we can help your communication. We can improve your communication. Why don't you take a course? One of our posits is that there are 3 triangles in Scientology. One is knowledge, responsibility, and control. The other one is the ARC triangle, affinity, reality, and communication. Now, most of this community, we protest Scientology because they're a brainwashing cult. But what are they telling us with their triangle? If you have an affinity for something, perhaps it's drama, perhaps it's educational, perhaps it's personality, perhaps it's a little place that's home where you can chat with friends. But are they telling us about reality? And who can communicate? Are they communicating, or should we learn how to communicating? So there's their triangle. Right, March 3rd is going to be the anniversary of the shit show opening of the Chicago org. And there are some videos online that are excellent that recount that day. All right. Oh, my goodness. Here's some more triangles. Who else had a triangle? Aristotle had a triangle way back in the 4th century BC. His triangle to define communication is pathos, ethos, and logos. And here's just nonsense because we're done with triangles now. Okay? Euclid had a triangle. All right, so in Aristotle's triangle, he talked about 3 types of persuasion or communicating. The first one is where the whole focus is on the person, the speaker, the content creator, your personality, your celebrity. The second kind of content is focused on the mind of the listener, their interest, their capacity, and what will appeal to them in a very emotional way. Keep that in mind. We see that a lot. The third kind of persuasion or communication, according to Aristotle, was logos. And that is the actual things you're saying in your content. There's proof for it, and it makes sense, and it's reasonable. Okay? So here's social media versus the art of persuasion. And keep in mind, there's always an algorithm working every second behind the scene. So what we find in social media is your creator or your presenter or your channel that's saying, believe me, hey, you love it, you believe everything I say. And on the other end, we're going to be the viewer who's saying, convince me. And in between, you have almost everyone else, I think, in my opinion, in the United States of America, who just don't ever question anything because if they saw it online, it must be true. Hot Stuff Ireland, I think you brought me some friends. That's good. And you can feel free to tell me if you want to ask questions or move along or do something else. So what we can do, and I hope the people in the comments can do, is play Spot the Fallacy. So if you can think of examples from any channels or streamers or chats as we go along that you can remember or you think of that are displaying a logical fallacy, we're going to play the game and you can spot it. Empty media. Oh, Matt, thank you. Super. All right. The art of persuasion. I used the triangle to get my wife. Hey, if it worked. Oh, we're having fun now. We have a lot of popular streamers and content creators on here as well. Earlier, there was a comment that we believe what we want. We don't need no stinking logic. It's true. It's true. And that's the problem I want to address. Okay. Oh, let's go back. Fallacy number 1, the false dilemma. Declaring that there's only 2 options. You're either for me or you're against me. You're either this or you're that. Has anyone possibly ever seen a video or a stream or a channel that takes this position? Anybody? So in a false dilemma, they're using black and white thinking. So you'll see it easily if you look for either or statements. You're either in or you're out. you either support this or you're a scumbag, anything like that. Psychologists actually consider it to be a malfunction or a disruption in cognitive process. So your thinking is distorted, really, if this is the way you are. I had a mother like this. I'll just say that. So it's black or white. There is no in between. All right. The problem with this is that situations are usually complex, and this is going to oversimplify it into it's black or it's white. You like this guy or you hate this guy. You know, you watch this one or you don't watch this one, right? Now, come on, haven't we seen this type of thing? Scooter Mom, yes, you have seen it. And the ground rules for chatting or making these comments are, I want to keep it in generalities rather than very specific named attacks. But we're kind of good about hemming and hawing too around here. So Nana is bringing up a big, making a comment saying here, yeah, we are seeing this false dilemma fallacy in almost all of the content that has been going around lately. And I'm going to mention this, it's even affected those of us in Chicago. So Adam says staying emotionally engaged and logically detached is a delicate balance. It is. And more viewers feel they're in a delicate situation because of people promoting false dilemmas. Doesn't have to be either or. It doesn't have to be us or them. And other creators are feeling they have to walk a tightrope as well. Yeah, exactly. You're either with us or against us. And as I say, we see it everywhere, and particularly, especially in the United States, given our political situation, and we've just introduced a new regime, everything leading up to the situation has seen more and more divide amongst people. So it's not only this community. Yeah, and Scooter Mom, a lot of us have felt you can't be my friend if you're friends with them. A lot of this has been going around in our community. People making comments and people making whole video contents about how, well, we're calling you out or we're blocking you if we saw you over there, because if you're engaging with one streamer, then you can't possibly be my friend because I declare it black and white. But this is a false dilemma. Don't fall for it. Point out all the middle options. Yeah, sometimes people draw the lines real hard. The pressure to denounce and conform gives us all a taste of cult life. Very insightful. We can use it as an empathy exercise. That's really interesting because we're in a community that protests a cult, yet we see the individual protesters and creators almost adopting cult-like behavior. Yes, Susan, that's exactly it. Point out a middle ground option. We can just be for the cause. It would be logical. There you go. So a Chicago streamer here says the problem also is some aren't here for the right reasons. Yeah, that's true. If we have more time, or if there's a part 2, I'd like to go into a big celebrity lawsuit that's going on now that involves shading on social media and ruining reputations. And I think that would fit in here as well. Okay, so here's a few more corollaries that can go along with this. And I'm just going to have to make it big for myself. Oh, yeah? Says who? Here's a little titty called bulverism, not widely known. It's the assumption or assertion that an argument is flawed because the person making the argument has some suspected motives. He's sus, okay? He's got some characteristics that we don't like, or, you know, his motives are sus. That's a minor fallacy. Another one called the genetic fallacy. When you reject or accept the argument you're hearing, just based on where it's coming from, and you don't even evaluate the content. Oh, because I'm with them. I like everything. I believe everything. And a third one, which is the more serious level, appeal to force. It's an argument based on threats of force to convince others. And this is what's going on in that celebrity lawsuit case that we could evaluate with this criteria. It involves spreading rumors, doxing people, threatening to dox people, threatening to tell shades. So has anyone seen any of that going on? Yes, it is the Blake Lively case. There was a very good article in the New York Times, and there in the Daily, there was an interview with the author of that article who went into great detail about the PR media firms that were hired to actually do the smearing and texts and stuff like that. So it would apply. Okay, so I'm just wondering, Miss Mona, Fat Grammy, who we're going to see interviewed later with Audit LA, says she doesn't want to be a bulvert. And we don't want to sling any other bull as well. So I ask you now, has anyone seen any of these things going on in our community? And if you want to give me some respectable general examples, we're up for it. Okay, here's some more, and one's going to be very important. Yes, everyone's remarking that they have seen them. They're just not mentioning any examples. Okay, I'm going to enlarge this for myself to read. Okay, this is my favorite because I love mystery and detective stories. The red herring. This is an attempt to redirect a conversation away from the topic. We see a lot of that. And one way this is done is by introducing a completely irrelevant piece of information to distract the listener. One of our most famous Scientology protesters is Tori, at Tori Magoo 44. She was in Scientology for a very long time and was even recruited by OSA, their Office of Dirty Tricks and PSYOPs, to handle protesters and collect information and even work for a government agency and secretly copy documents and bring them to Scientology. Eventually, she woke up. She had a kind of escape, and now she can be found online in a couple of different places with the whole story of her protest and what she reveals to us about Scientology. So another thing we see is ad populum, and this is the one that is so famous and so frequently. Well, everybody knows that, or, everybody saw it. It's just obviously you believe it. Everyone has said it, right? Still doesn't mean it's true. Yeah, I believe she did have a story one time of that. We should go back and look for it, and then I can correct my own view if I'm off on that. But I believe I saw that as well. All right. So just to be reviewing, we see a lot of it's got to be me or you. You can only be with me and you can't be with anybody else, or just automatically accepting something because you like where it came from, or rejecting something because you suspect and distrust where it's coming from, or you're afraid of being threatened. Okay, so number two logical fallacy that you can look for when you're viewing: the appeal to ignorance. So something is claimed to be true or false because there isn't any evidence to prove it false. So, for example, the concepts, is there a God? No, there isn't a God. Well, no one can prove it. So each side feels safe in their argument. So I believe aliens exist. Well, you can't prove they don't, so they must. And if you don't show proof, it must be true. And here we see comments that we have to show receipts. Frankly, I've seen a lot of people show receipts on a lot of things, and half the time, going back, I never understood what the supposed receipt they were showing me was supposed to be, let alone prove. But there you go. All right, so I got the receipts. You got your receipts right here. You want receipts? Okay, that's clickbait. So to show proof or to not show proof, what counts as proof? That would be a big discussion. We could take a look at any other time. But I would say on social media, we constantly see people asking for receipts or claiming they have receipts, both. How about fallacy number 3, the slippery slope? The slippery slope is kind of the apocalyptic claim, and it's always used to make things sound very urgent. Quick, you have to do this or something bad will happen. If you don't buy this vitamin now, you may get arthritis in your knees. So here's some examples. Well, if we let the students bring phones inside the classroom, no one's ever going to learn anything. The school system will fall apart and everything. So, if you're not doing what the creator wants you to do, they want you to believe that everything is going to go to shit. So again, in our community, watching lots of media, we see the claim that if you don't show me support, you might possibly be the next target. You might be shamed, you might be called out, and you'll just, your life will be ruined. So those kinds of claims go around too. Here, Corn is saying, if you're clear about what you're showing receipts for, there are many types. Nana says, truth is the best disinfectant. Auditing Ireland says, the burden of proof always lies on the person making the claim. So again, this is very important. When we are watching, even if it's our favorite creator, we need to be looking for any of these errors in logic, just so we can be clear that we know what we are going to believe. Because the earlier commenter said, we don't evaluate things, we just believe. Yeah, Scooter Mom. Adam says, we're all in an Agatha Christie novel, waiting for the next person to get picked off. Exactly. Why I'm so partial to the red herring fallacy. There's always a red herring in a mystery novel. Hey, Brian, from a poet. So Corn says, no one has the power to pick anyone else off. Someone has been trying on me for months. I'm still here. No. Okay, so she's indicating that she's involved in a situation where probably several of the different slides we've shown come into play between many individuals who are all involved. Okay. So from a poet says, I like the saying, when you make an assumption, you make an ass of you and unction. Brian, I was going to read it as a standard quote. You're so tricky. All right. All right, we're just saying hello here. So we are up to number 5. And it's called, oddly enough, No True Scotsman. I don't think we have our Scotsman in the chat today, though, but we have a few of them. They're on a different time schedule, obviously. But we'll have to point it out to our Scottish friends, right? So this fallacy is known as No True Scotsman. And what it is you're not a true believer or a follower or a fan, or you're not really one of us because you don't fit our idea of what that is. So No True Scotsman fallacy is a fallacy where someone defends a generalization by dismissing any counterexamples because they're not true, because we all know the general idea is true. So the title comes from the old story that no true Scotsman would ever put sugar on their, let me get this in here. No true Scotsman ever put sugar on their porridge. And then someone comes along and says, but my My dad's a true Scotsman, and he likes to put sugar on his porridge. But everyone else agrees, well, then he can't be a real Scotsman. So you can put that into any parlance you want. You can't be a really good protester unless you do X. But maybe someone is doing X and they're doing a great job. Well, they must not really be a real true protester or a believer or a fan. No one who really likes me and is with me would ever go enjoy this other thing. But wait a minute, I'm your big fan, but I do enjoy looking at the other thing. Well, then you must not be my real fan. And when we see in politics a lot, true patriots are blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people say, well, I'm not blah, 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 but I'm definitely a true patriot. So take that. All right, let's catch up on comments. All right, this looks real interesting. The Asch conformity experiments show us how easily we are manipulated. All right, that's something we can look at. Great stream, by the way. I don't have mods because I'm a little unknown, but I will try and look up a link for that. Great suggestion. Thank you. And Scooter's addressing the earlier comment by noting that when someone with a huge following is doing one of these activities, their sympathizers will take that as a directive to attack and harass. And I think we've seen a lot of this. I'm thinking of lots of examples in my mind, and you probably are too, where those sympathizers will do the attacking for the streamer. Samuel L. Jackson's character said that in the Long Kiss Goodnight. Oh, you want a great action movie? The Long Kiss Goodnight is probably one of my top 10. So Samuel L. Jackson's character said in that movie, it kind of stuck with me. I'm not sure if that's the quote, what the quote is. And yes, it does apply to the American body politic. Remember these fallacies, and every time you're watching anything in the news, you're going to be pointing them out. All right, let's see. Hubbard ship was the Scotsman. So this particular fallacy has poetic relevance too. No, it was not the Scotsman. I don't think it was. Adam, stop! Catching up with a few more comments. Corn here is mentioning that she feels the threat of force pressure right now affecting her channel. And Scooter Mom is saying not every creator can stand up to pressure. They have to think of themselves. They have to think of their mental health. They have to think of their families, and then sometimes their employments. So it can be a deterrent, it can be a problem, it can be an obstacle for creators, and they opt out and they stop creating, or they just act to take care of themselves, their families, and their mental health, and that becomes the most important thing. Nana is reminding us that a lot of the content we see all over social media, all over, is punching down, where the great content you have, or the review you have of someone else, or the reaction video can often involve punching down, where you are making fun or pointing out your dislikes or problems with whatever the content is. And Dip Me in Glitter, who invited me for an interview where I was the main character. I've already had my main character moment, so I never have to go back. Thank you, Dip. She says that's why it's important for everyone to stick together. And if we learn to recognize these logical fallacies and see when it's being used on us, and trying to going back to Aristotle and the ethos persuasion, where the appeal is to your emotional response, we can take a minute and evaluate it a second time, okay? And that's going to help people stay together. I'm, again, catching up here. Oh, I think we have a Scotsman. What do you say, Haggis? I'm so glad you joined us. I'm so glad everyone has joined us today. All right, here's another great comment from Auditing Ireland. The Milgram experiments are also eye-opening and worth exploring. Beginning on August 7th, 1961, a series of social psychology experiments were conducted by Yale University psychologist Stanley Milgram. Yes, and he's a famous name. Another great suggestion and great comment. Thank you, Auditing Ireland. These are things that we can have a minute to take a look at too. It doesn't always have to be the drama. So we've got now 2 great new suggestions. Okay, here's a comment that when someone uses the particular community, like we're in a niche community in that most of us protest Scientology and its abuses as a dangerous, brainwashing, family-destroying cult, some people are in it for the money. And that is a point. This happens. And once you are in it for the money, you can ask yourself, and I asked myself today about what I'm doing here. I asked myself, is this content I really want to do? Or is this content anybody else really wants to see? So if I was a businesswoman and if I was thinking that way, I might have wondered whether anyone wanted to see it. But actually, the decision I made was, this is content I really want to do. So that's what today is about. And my email is in my channel description, so I'm always open to ideas if someone likes to see something else. Haggis, are you true Scots? We demand answers. It's black or white. The fallacy is, you must tell us. There's no other way. Oh, my goodness. We have a friend from Florida here, Feral Cheryl. Now, one thing I will say about Feral Cheryl, I'm sorry I haven't seen all your content, but I started becoming a creator, so I'm limited in keeping up with everybody. But you do enjoy a little comedy, girl. So I'm just going to say that you enjoy a little comedy. There we go. So, Haggis, you may be the person, since we have now identified you as a true Scotsman, to tell us, do you like sugar on your porridge? Are you a true Scotsman? And if you don't, well, you just don't. Oh, well, that doesn't count. Haggis doesn't count. She's not a true Scotsman. So we'll just find out from her. All right. We have a little bit more, but I'm so thrilled that all of you joined me today. And I want to take a minute to remind you, could you hit the like button? And if you're not, could you subscribe, please? And set the little dingy, dingy, dingy bell, the ding dong bell. I find if I set it to personal, I actually do see notifications, since I'm kind of hit and miss. And Poet Brian, who plays us AI songs made out of famous poems early in the morning. That's why I do my YouTube channel. It's stuff I like to do. And I hope that it helps people forget for a little while. Right. No drama in that content. Just good music and a lot of fun. And someone who may be new to my channel, new to me maybe, answers, and with receipts, please. Sorry, she had to make that joke to Haggis. And we have someone else here. Oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Oh, that jumped. Okay. We have another true Scotsman. Real for life, Kim D. We have another true Scotsman. So I know you won't be making this logical fallacy. We have two people here that won't make this logical fallacy. Adam says, this community needs a talk show called Viva Make You Talk. Well, collectively, we put a lot of the content together. It's pretty much what we've got. All right. Oh my gosh. Good. This chat is turning out to be fun. That's what I wanted. Our true Scotsman says, oh my God, I'm eating porridge right now. And I put salt in it. Salt. There you go. She didn't use the sugar because she's a true Scotsman. Anyone want to see me type like I did when Dip Me in Glitter invited me for a to be the main character interview? There you go. I'm typing. All right. Oh my goodness. Here's a wonderful person and creator, Manning 8. I'm so glad to see you. I also want to remind everybody there's going to be a fundraiser a little bit later this evening for Cubs champion 18 out of Boston. He's in a bit of a pickle caused by Scientology. They've got him. All right, I'm not going to say that. That's crude. But anyway, he needs to raise funds, and we all need to raise funds for a big court case, which Scientology has manipulated the Commonwealth of Boston into leveling against Cubs. Frankly, I don't care about the case or who did what. We got to beat this. So we'll have to get a link for that fundraiser that's going to be happening. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you took the time and effort to join me and share with me, because I've seen a lot of your content too. I appreciate the compliment a lot. It means a lot. Of course, it's going to go to my head. All right, let's continue. And now, the crown jewel of fallacies. Let's remove our comment. Finally, we get to the bad actors. All right, we're going to have to be coming back for these comments. We're just going to continue with the next thing, but we got some great comments going on now. Who's the bad actor? Ad hominem. Ad hominem is our sixth logical fallacy. And it's the one I hope we particularly pay attention to. Okay? This is when someone is attacking the person making the argument instead of their actual argument. And it comes from the Latin for to the person. So in this case, there may be an argument or a statement or a proposal. And as that is being developed or communicated, we keep moving away to the person, moving away to the person, okay? And the point of that, and this is probably the number one thing you see in politics, and I know you've all seen it, and it still goes on. So the whole idea is, if you can't beat their argument, you try and discredit them. You don't want to get into the discussion because you don't have a very good leg to stand on, so you discredit them. All right. And it's a rhetorical strategy that appeals to emotions, appeals to prejudices very easily, rather than the actual facts. So we've seen a lot of this within our community. People are not perfect. And in general, I prefer to evaluate what is the person really saying. Is it believable? Why is it believable or not? Although there does come a point, and this is true in our community, it's true on social media, and it's true with political figures and figures in the news right now. There does come a point where I will use sarcasm or insults in the case when I feel there is an individual who is so egregiously bad with their beliefs, their ideas, or what they're doing, or the statements they're making, that I don't mind hitting back. So that is true. There is a line that can be set. But in general, realize when you're just seeing the fallacy of someone avoiding the discussion by attacking the opponent personally. All right, let's go back and look at some of these comments because we got a lot here. Now I can just think of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm thinking of so many streamers already. And just about everybody in the news. Okay. We're going back to porridge. Honey, butter, and a little bit of milk in my oatmeal. Well, You're not a true poet then, I guess. And here we have another comment. What is the difference between a Scottish sheep farmer and a Rolling Stones song? One says, hey, you get off of my cloud. And the other one says, hey, my cloud, get off of my you. All right. You're coming close to the line audit, but we like the joke. All right. Well, I think this topic really appealed to people. I'll just say that because everybody's either been subjected to it or is doing it or has watched it. Okay, Jessica says the crown jewel of fallacies is that we're not alone in the universe. Non-human intelligence is here on Earth. All right. That's very wide encompassing comment. So we can all take a look at that and get something different out of that. Thank you, Jessica. All right. And people are discussing whether we say a person with a bad intent is different than saying a bad actor. In this particular community, it is, because that term has been kind of co-opted. And so we know that. Again, don't come after me. I got the receipts. I got all the receipts. I got the receipts on all of you, baby. I got the receipts on all of you. So leave me alone. Okay, Michael says, if the argument includes evidence provided by someone who has been repeatedly demonstrated to be unreliable, then it may be dismissed. And that's very true of a major news organization in the United States that went to court, and its only defense was the Larry Flynn defense, that what we say is so ridiculous. How could anyone believe us? So I don't consider anything from a news outlet like that reliable. You're dead on there, dead on. And I think the point here in our community is this could be true of a particular streamer or not as well. If we find out that time and again, what they're putting out is not supported, we're no longer going to trust them. He's a true poet, and he likes oatmeal. All right, he's true, and he's a poet, so he's a true poet. Haggis. Am I going to have to start saying haggis like they say Adam? All right, here's another one. Oh, Scooter Mom. You put sugar on your oatmeal, you're not a true Scotsman. But it is oatmeal, and it is brown sugar. So who doesn't like a little brown sugar? And Traveltology is here with a comment. In my opinion, so-called receipts can be used to justify the chosen narrative, not for exact facts. Now, that's interesting because as I have mentioned earlier, I myself, I cannot watch every piece of content by every creator, even that I subscribe to, every minute and every comment that's ever been made by every person in every chat of every piece of content. So I miss things. I'm sure we all miss things, and maybe we just don't always like to admit it, but I will see someone claiming to have receipts, and this goes back quite a while, to earlier this year. And I, for the life of me, thought, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know why that's a receipt, and I don't know what it's a receipt for. So that can happen. And in other cases, people can just say, here's a documentation, or here's my source. Quoting sources is always a good idea because people can go verify the source. An outlet like that is not a news outlet. Well, that's my strong opinion, but yet millions are watching it and just not questioning it, not looking for fallacies, and not comparing content. And the news outlet I just thought of as the most egregious example off the top of my head has the name of a furry animal. Okay, Jennifer has to go. Bye, Jennifer. Thanks you for being here. Steven Seagal is a bad actor, and he's a bad actor. Can't disagree. All right. So let's see if we have a little bit more. I'm just going to close this, and perhaps next time we can continue looking at the celebrity lawsuit in terms of social media content and how that was manipulated, and the companies that were hired to do the manipulation, and how that worked. But for right now, I just want to quote the commencement speech given by John Fitzgerald Kennedy at Yale when he graduated in 1962. The great enemy of truth very often is not the lie, which is deliberate, contrived, and dishonest, but it's the myth, persistent, persuasive, unrealistic. So with that, I would like to say goodbye to everybody, because we know, I think it's going to be Streets LA that's going to interview two great protesters, Audit LA, who will attend almost every kind of city council meeting, Board of Public Works meeting, ethics committee meeting, and neighborhood community meeting she can in LA to keep a watchful eye on the safe pointing of Scientology. And Fat Grammy, Mona, who also shares that content and does a lot of the work by making call-in comments to the same meetings. And she has a group of followers and chatters who also she has encouraged to join the fight in making those comments constantly at every meeting, so the government officials or neighborhood officials know every meeting, every time, we don't let Scientology slide by. So I would like to say good night. Look for that. Look for the Cubs Champion 18 fundraiser a little bit later. And have a wonderful day. I hope we do this again, and I hope you'll join me soon. Thank you.